Hi, and welcome to the National Authors Day event. What you will see following my message is conversation that was happening during the event on Zoom Live. We can only do virtual because of COVID-19. We hope to change that for 2021. The date of that event will be November 6th. It always falls on the first Saturday of November. So we hope to see you then. We are considering doing a squirrel / discovery / book event. So we're looking more into doing that in different cities. So we are looking for hosts or hostesses or event planners that want to work with us to create a discovery trail, walking trail, where people can learn about books from various artists in the local regions, whatever we can create and have fun with. But in the meantime, we hope you will watch the following videos. It's approximately an hour and 15, hour, 20 minutes long. It talks with a lot of different authors from around the world, Canada, United States, of course, and just people expressing different points of view, thoughts, asking questions about publishing, writing, all that fun stuff. So thank you again for participating, and we look forward to seeing you as an author or as a reader in November 6, 2021. Take care. How are you, Annie?
I'm good. How are you? What a beautiful
Good.
day.
So Annie's in Canada. Ashley is in Killeen, Texas. We
Hi,
just
Ashley.
had DeMarcus join us, and he's in Delaware.
DeMarcus.
Marcus, we need to get your mic unmuted. Can you do that?
Can y'all hear me now?
Oh, there you are.
Welcome, DeMarcus. How are you?
Doing all right.
Yeah.
So if y'all heard a little noise in the background, I'm getting my car, my brakes done and my oil change, so y'all might hear a little noise. I'm at the car shop.
Not a problem.
Y'all know.
So, excuse me. So what is it, I'm curious what you guys would like to see. I'm going to start with Ashley, and I'll ask each of you, what would you like to see change in the publishing world? And Ashley, why don't you start?
Oh, we definitely need direct contact with publishers that can truly, like from start to finish, formulate book projects that's not killer on the author's pockets. Like, our authors really have good content, but they don't really know how to start. So if we could get, a good collaboration group that can, like guide authors through that path, I think that would help.
Now, are you talking about specifically getting their book published, or have a publisher step in to help them through, actually publish their books?
Yeah, like a publisher team that can collaborate with the selective authors, rather than us just sending manuscripts and stuff like that, like we used to. We just send manuscripts to different publishers, and we're searching for publishing companies. If we had like a network that could work with the publisher, the authors within our community, I think that would help them.
Okay. And Louise, you're a publisher. What would you like to see changed in the publishing world?
That's a really good question. I put a lot of thought into this, and of course, being an indie author as well, so I see it from both sides. And because of the model of publishing as a partner publisher, where there is a shared cost, I would love to see the publishing world be more open-minded and embracing of not just the indie author, but also the partner publishing model, because there's still a little bit of a stigma attached to, from what I've experienced, attached to the, oh my goodness, your authors have to pay to be published. So I'd like people to be a little more open-minded and look at the process and realize that not all, indie publishing is painted with the same brush.
Now, you used the word, if I remember correctly, shared published module, which is also known as hybrid publishing.
Yes.
And we're seeing more and more hybrids coming up and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm I'm going to go back to Ashley. Is that something that is a value to you, and what you were thinking of is having that hybrid, or are you thinking something a little bit more different?
Oh no, I mean that's the problem. We're having so many hybrids pop up that it's decrediting what the author actually needs to have a great published item. So I still think we need the the foundational good publishing companies, but the professionalism of that needs to be able to be accessed by all.
Okay. DeMarcus, what would you like to see changed in the publishing world?
I know this is actually my first books, and I went to like a self-publishing website. KDP is through Amazon. So like my thing is, I would say, and that's why I'm glad I met One Words Unite bookstore, like promotion. That's been my biggest thing, like promotion. Since I went through a self-publishing company, it was hard for me to promote my book. And then when I met Miss Ashley and Lady Q, it was like the promotion was good. That's like my biggest thing, promotion, and getting my book out there, and get my name out there, and get my brand out there.
Okay, so not only do you need help with that, it sounds like you need to learn how to do it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's basically, yes, sir.
Okay, well,
It's
definitely
like
check out authorsmarketingguild.com. That's the organization I run. We teach authors how to better market and sell themselves, and we're fairly inexpensive membership base on $50 a year. So definitely check us out, because I know you're not a member. Actually, I'm going to go back to you on this, and then I'm going to ask Ann this. We've been toying with the idea of a one-stop shopping center for authors. And it sounds similar to what you're considering, where an author can go to one place, get their learn how to not only get their ISBN or the process, what type of publishing services are available to them, where to find graphic artists, editors, video tape makers for book trailers, all that type of stuff. Is that somewhat what you're thinking of, or a little bit more detailed?
Oh no, I mean that sums it up as to what any individual author needs. So yes, that is exactly what I feel we should be gearing towards.
Okay, and what about you? Because you're hybrid, what do you think of something of that nature?
I think that would be an extremely beneficial resource. And I agree with Ashley that there are a ton of hybrids popping up here, there, and everywhere. And the reason for that is because there's such a demand.
Right.
Because people, the cool thing that's happening in publishing right now is the opportunity, the accessibility. And I think, Alan, you and I have talked about this before. Some of the challenges are, it's the technology. Some of the platforms can be a little bit unwieldy, which is why the hybrids are kind of popping up, because a lot of authors don't want to deal with that type of a thing. I know for myself and for the authors that I work with, when it comes, and as DeMarcus said, and we all know, that once that publish button is hit and the book actually launches, that's just the beginning of the work. Even
Right.
though you've spent years agonizing over your work, you don't just heave a sigh of relief and sit back and go, okay, I'm done. That's just the beginning, and the learning curve can be pretty steep. So if, Alan, what you're saying is that you're creating a portal whereby authors can go in and access resources, or just learn about what resources there are, because you don't know what you don't know. So who knew about virtual book tours before the first virtual book tour ran? And in this time that we're all experiencing, a virtual book tour is an extremely productive and effective way of getting your word out. So absolutely. And, and I tell all my authors now to check out the Author Marketing Guild. And, I've been publishing more than I've been writing lately, but that's sort of where my heart is. I want to get back to writing, and I will need to, expand, my options for resources to get out there, because the noise and the competition is huge.
Right. And speaking of noise, because that brings me perfectly into the next question. I'm going to start with DeMarcus on this one. DeMarcus, everybody can get published now. We have well over 1 million authors in the United States that are published and stuff. And that's just the United States. So that means the noise. Everybody's trying to get people to buy their books and stuff. So readers are finding that authors are just not that important anymore. To be an author, anybody can do it type thing. So what can we do as an organization to be able to help authors become valuable again in the economy, in the world of writing?
I would say number one, it's about respect. Like, it don't matter who you dealing with, their background. It's all about respect. And once I meet somebody, I don't look at them like, I look at them like family. If you treat somebody like family, because your skin color don't make you family. We're all brothers and sisters in Christ. So I would think like if people see that you respect them as a family person, I mean, it'll make them relate to you. They can trust you, because trust is a key. If you can trust a person with your work, your book, your publishing, I say trust.
Okay.
As long as somebody see you can trust them, as long as somebody see that they can trust you with their work, they can they'll work with you.
Okay. Ashley, your time. You know, like I said, there's 1 million authors out there. You're dealing with a lot of them and stuff, and it's important for them to be able to have the recognition and to be able to sell their books. So what is it that's missing to help those authors stand out, to be able to be above everybody else?
Well, that's why I really designed the bookstore, because individually I can only go so far. But when I collaborated with the different authors, not only are they coming, like say they knew me, they come in and get Ashley free, they get my books, but then they see this big collection of other books, and that brings an opportunity for other authors' books to get selected and purchased as well. So I found that collaborating with other authors has been very helpful. Even if you did the virtual events like Anne was saying, when we do our virtual book tours and more authors than one are on the line, that gives the community and the audience a bigger selection, and that gives the authors a bigger chance to get noticed.
That's a great idea.
Okay. And before I go to Annie Louise Connell, let me introduce you all to Annie Redfield. She's here in Texas. Howdy, Annie.
Hi, Ellen.
Welcome to the group. We're talking about publishing and support and stuff like that. And we have Martha West joining us here shortly. There she is. Hi, Marcia. Welcome. We don't have her microphone on, so while she's working on that, I'm going to go back to Anna Louise O'Connell. Like I said, Anna, you're part of this, where you're adding noise to the mix. So how do you see, or what can you see us doing to help either our membership or authors in general be able to be acknowledged that they've accomplished something and their books are worthy of being bought?
I want to shout out to Ashley and just say kudos, and I love that idea of the collaboration, and I try to do the same thing with my authors. We call it the OC Publishing family, and that actually also brings up DeMarcus's point about trust and supporting of one another. So I think it's really important that even though there's a lot of competition out there, that we find those collaborative opportunities. And one voice is quieter than many voices. And I've seen it myself when I've done an interview with an author, but they're not sort of the normal person or the regular OC Publishing author, whatever. I see the views and the involvement go up exponentially. So if we take the idea that Ashley was talking about, and if you were to similar to this particular opportunity with the National Authors Day, and bring authors together and encourage them to support one another. And I keep saying the best way that you can show support for your favorite author, indie authors, is to buy the books, number one, and then do reviews. It's amazing to me how difficult that is when you talk to somebody and they say, "Oh my goodness, I loved your book," and you say, "Oh, please, please do a review for me." And they've gone on and on about how much well, it's so hard to get on Amazon, and I'm not a member of Goodreads. And you say, "Well, it's really quite easy. I'll walk you through it." So I guess more opportunities to help one another get our books out, and collaborations and things where we can. It's like the ripple effect.
And real quickly to that review issue, and I'm sure all of us have experienced it and stuff, is that life gets in the way.
Of course.
They see it as a time-consuming item, even though it is short and sweet and easy to do. They see it as a time, and they need an incentive to be able to write that review. On our bookstore, Indie Lector, which is B4R, we actually, when people give a review, we give them a discount to purchase another book. So
Great.
something for like Ashley, who has a bookstore, that's something for you to consider, or an interview on an individual site to consider, hey, give me a review and I'll give you a discount at such and such to, for another book, or discount with a store that I work with, or a restaurant, or something of that nature. We have to give them that incentive to leave that information. I'm going to go to Marcia, since she didn't get a chance to say hello a moment ago. Hello, Marcia. Got your mic muted for me? All right, well,
Got it.
there you go.
Hi, Alan. How are you? Sorry.
Great.
The technology
Welcome
as always is a little challenging.
Yeah. So we've been talking about publishing books and things of that nature. And the question that's out there right now is, there's over 1 million authors. So the concept of, well, anybody can be an author, it's not that important, readers really don't care anymore, and it's hard for authors to stand out to get their book sales. Do you have any idea or a concept or something that would help an author to step up and say, hey, I'm here, yes, my book is well worth buying, please do so, whatever?
I think you just keep trying everything. You throw enough stuff out there and something will stick. I've recently heard from a couple of my writer friends who are major readers, of course, and they've said they've changed what they read of late, that because of what all we're living through, they read different stuff than they used to. And I thought, I'm even writing differently than I used to. And I used to read really hardcore, sexy thrillers, and I'm not reading those anymore. I hadn't even realized I'd made that change. So I'm sure that's happening to our readers out there. And the more often, in my opinion, you can give them a happily ever after, something inspirational, that draws people in. And then sharing who you are. I know I follow a couple of people on Facebook who are authors, and I now consider them friends. Oh, they may not, but I know Colleen Thompson's dog is named Frio and likes to go out on a kayak in South Texas. So I think those kinds of things are real helpful for drawing people in. And yeah, I heard you talking about reviews. Even a couple of lines, and we just need to keep asking and explaining to our readers. Those are super important. Those are super important. And I think keep our expectations in check. Maybe one of us is going to be, a big name writer, but chances are we aren't. We are going to have, it's not that we shouldn't try and write our best book always, but to celebrate the successes we have. When somebody says, oh, when's your next book coming out? I mean, hey, you know, that's really something that somebody is saying, when is your next book going to come out? So yeah, I think we are hard on ourselves, and, you know, do a multiplicity of things to get our name out there, and then to go with the flow, keep writing.
Cool, thank you. Excuse me. We had somebody just join us. Alexa, how are you? We don't have your mic unmuted. Okay, well, wave at everybody, Alexis. We know you're there, and we appreciate when you figure out how to get your mic unmuted, we'll come back to you. I'm going to go to Anne and ask you a question, Anne Redfield. Reynolds. Recently, I put out, and I'll be putting out my newsletter here shortly, an idea to our advisory board. We have well over 40,000 followers, which is nice, but not a lot. And we're thinking of a way to increase that followership so that our authors, our members can benefit from that. So what we were thinking of doing was having people take pictures in their home libraries. If anyone can see Ashley, I'm sure you're at the bookstore, and that's why you've got such a great library behind you. Annie has a small little library behind her. Marsha has placed her books slightly there, so that's her little library. But we wanted people to take a picture and of their home library, put it out on our bookstore Twitter and Instagram feed, and use a hashtag to indicate that they are a reader of some sort. So we wanted to figure out what kind of name would be good to describe these type of readers, whether hardcore, they have their own library, or anything like that. What do you think of that idea? Do you think that will draw people in and be added into that mix of followers?
I love the idea, and
Yeah.
but I'm thinking of myself, and I have piles of books everywhere. I mean, in baskets, on tables. I love just having, you know, there's one here I'm wanting to read if I have a free moment on a Zoom call. You know, when you're a reader, you're an author, you know, books are your life. So yeah, it would be fun to just show all the ways we stash our books. I think that's a great idea, Alan.
Well, and I got to confess, we downsized a couple of years ago, and we got rid of a lot of the paperback books. There just isn't space. We have great windows. We look out on a lake. We made some sacrifices to get that view. And so most of my books are on my Kindle or my Nook. And I occasionally have what I call real books that are in print. But yeah, I mean, and I'm old. It's easier for me to read on the Kindle or Nook because I can make it as big as I need it to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need to comment on that, Alan, go ahead.
Well, let me get Alexa, because her
Yeah.
mic's undone now, I believe, and I'd like to say hi again. Welcome, Alexa.
How you doing?
Appreciate it. Are you an
Thank you for the
author or a
opportunity. I
reader?
appreciate it. I am both, actually. I currently have released my first self-published book this year called Father Give Me the Heart, and yes, and
That's cool.
yes. I'm sorry. Say that again.
I'm just saying that's cool, and I love the title.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And I'm a reader also, and I will say I got a lot of books, but right now, because where I live, I'm in the studio, so it's kind of like I got to scatter my books. But if I had to give a good visual, it's like I got an area where it's like small books, and then an area that's like tall, large, thick books, and then I also have Kindle also. So yes, I like to read too. Also, especially if someone that stands out, or especially if someone's going to benefit me in the long run. So definitely a mixture of both.
Great. Well, thank you and welcome to the party. It's not a real big, high energy festive party, but we're all here and we're glad to be a published author. So I appreciate you being here.
I think I was sharing the wrong link all along for some reason. I'm not certain why, but I didn't share the right link, and I've gone back into Facebook and tried to post this one. So.
Well, I appreciate that, Marsha. So Annie, you were going to say something in reference to that concept?
Yeah, Marsha was talking about how, you know, she's downsized and there was a point a few years back that I was living overseas and we were moving again, and my now ex-husband made me get rid of a whole bunch of books, and it was like ripping my heart out of my chest. So I did it because it did make sense, but I have since moved back to Canada, and I think a lot of people who have sort of gotten rid of books, it's unavoidable. We start to build them back up again. So I have now, and a lot of, of course, I have a lot of reference books as well, because of what I do. And of course, we're always doing research, regardless of whether you're a publisher or an author or a combination of both. And so I still read on my Kindle, no doubt about it. If I'm traveling, I have my Kindle because I can't fit 5 novels in my carry-on and my other stuff, right? So, and I used to have my reference books on my Kindle as well, but I found that when I'm working on something, I need to have, so my Chicago Manual of Style is back here, and my Oxford English Dictionary and my Merriam Dictionary are there because I still need that paper as well. So I'm a little old-fashioned, but I also love the technology. But I bet you, Marcia, you're going to start building that collection back up. But in answer to your question, Alan, I think I could probably send, like, every corner, like Anne also said, has a stack of books. My night table has 3 or 4 that I'm reading. So I could send you 10, but you need to figure out what the hashtag is. Once a reader, always a reader, or I don't know, that's too long. Born a reader, or born bad reader, or something. I don't know. We can brainstorm.
I definitely want a short hashtag that is kind of like an urban name that is new, unique, draws in the younger crowd.
We all read.
If anybody comes up with any ideas, please feel free to email them to me at info@authorsmarketingguild.com, and we'll give you credit, in the promotion and stuff. DeMarcus, I have not asked you about that. What do you think about that concept?
I believe, like, me personally, matter, the background plays a big part. And even though I'm a published author, I like to read too. And I just moved from Illinois to Delaware. So once I get settled, I'm going to get my bookshelf back up. I like to read. The number 1 book I like to read is the Bible. So that's the first book I recommend to anybody, the Bible. But I think the background always plays a part, because if you put books around your background and you love to read, that draw attention, like, oh, he an author and he like to read. Let me see what he about. So I feel like your background always plays a part, no matter where you at. Like, I know I'm in a tire shop right now, so my background don't have books, but the background plays a part. That plays a part, your background.
Sure. And for those of you who see my background, it's pretty stark because I'm sharing a house and I have 30,000 books and they're all in storage. So that's my background.
I thought I was a lot of books. That's a lot of books.
You may win on the number of books there, Alan.
I may. Ashley, I have an interesting question for you that I'll pose to everybody else in a moment, but I'm going to start with Ashley because I'm going to put her on the spot, okay? You're a bookseller, okay? As far as I know, most of your books are new, but you do have some used books for sale. Is that correct?
I actually give away the used books. Like, that's for our books for a cause donation.
Okay, so my question is about recycling. Okay, there are billions of books out there, and a lot of them go through resellers or Goodwill or half-price books, things of that nature, which means that for the new authors, that's less money available for people to use towards purchasing new books. So from a recycling perspective, there are recycled papers out there in limited quantities that only certain publishers or certain printers use for printing books. It's also more costly and not effective in that respect, so it's not used as often. But what do you think if we take a lot of these used books and instead of having them filter through the used book stores, end up being used as recyclable paper, where books then are reprinted on that paper through the cleaning process and all that stuff.
Right.
As a bookseller, what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I haven't really explored recycling venues, but I personally do not like to see a book. I don't care if it's torn up or not. I don't like to see a book thrown in the trash.
Oh, no.
So if we talk about it on that aspect, then yes, if that book cannot go in the trash can and can go in a recycling avenue where that paper could be reused, yeah, I would definitely want to have contingencies in place for books to be able to be put there and donated in that aspect.
Okay. Now, Annie, I'm going to pose that question to you because as a publisher, you're concerned about the cost of printing and stuff like that. So as long as that paper's cost effective, is that something that you would push your authors to? What is your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest, what I want to see is good quality. So when somebody picks up a copy of an OC Publishing title, I want them to hold it and say, wow, this is really good quality. I want them to feel the paper and say, oh yeah, that's great. I don't like the words to show through. So, and that it annoys a reader as well, I think.
Right.
I mean, as a voracious reader, that bugs me. And there are some of the finer recycled paper has that element to it. So I'm always getting paper samples from printers. I do publish through Ingram, so that your options are limited, but they have just added a new option for recycled paper. So I have yet to try it, but now you've inspired me to do so. And I also, because I'm in Canada, I have a couple of printers here. So I'm looking at using recycled paper as long as there's no bleed through on the pages.
A real quick question before I continue this conversation. By a show of hands, how many people actually write down their story ideas and notes by hand? Okay. Of those people, do you use recycled paper when you do that?
Oh, this is all. Yeah.
All righty.
Mine's spread out all over the place.
I can't tell if it's recycled or not. All I know is as long as I can write it and legible and I can see it and not leaking through the paper, to me it's good paper.
All right. So as an author, Alexa, and also as a reader, what do you think about the idea of using recycled paper for books?
I'm okay with it. And when Ashley was talking about a pet peeve of seeing books thrown in the trash, I used to work at a recycling center, and there'd be books coming through, and I'll be amazed. Not just like novels and just readable stuff, but even like textbooks. I'm looking like, you gotta be kidding. And I really believe like if we're gonna spend that much money on books and then like kind of like recycling them away, I'm looking like. But at the same time, I do agree recycling the material that's made to like do the books, do the paper, that I'm okay with. But wasting, I'm not okay with it. Definitely not okay with it.
I understand. Ms. Redolphs, what is your thought about recycled paper?
I like it. And I agree with what, I forget who said it about the not throwing books out. Alexia, it just agrees me when I go to garage sales and at the end they're going to throw books away, because to me, I love going to garage sale and just, oh, that's a nice book, even though it's something I wouldn't normally read. It just draws me out, it expands my mind, and it can always go to a library or a community place or something, but if not that, recycling, absolutely.
Okay. DeMarcus, what do you think?
I think that's a good idea, because as I was speaking, what kept popping in my head is like, what is another man's trash is somebody else's treasure. So you might think that's trash, but somebody else might see it like, oh, this is a book, I can use this. So I agree with the whole concept, because I mean, it's just like you said, you just recycling, that's bringing it back around. Like and me personally, I'm the same way when it comes to books. I have 6 kids, so when I get a book and I see them tear it up, I don't get upset, but I be like, come on, that's a good book to read. So I believe in the whole using the book and recycling, using the paper to print another book out. I agree with the whole concept. It makes sense because you might see it as trash, but I see it as treasure.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quickly, it's about 10:22. We have a few more minutes before Ashley leaves us, but she's doing a hosting party in Colleen. So if anybody wants to join her at 11 o'clock, you are more than welcome to. But I'm sure she'll stick around for a little longer. She's in no rush to run over there. So. Marcia.
Could I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
Anne, I'm curious where in Canada you are.
I'm on the East Coast in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm a blue noser.
Okay. I have some writer friends on the West Coast of Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Marcia, I didn't ask you the question about recycling. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, recycle, reuse, we just need to do that for the sake of our planet and for the sake of our bookshelves. But Anne mentioned a good point, and that was using, when you use that paper to make a new book, to make sure the quality is still okay, that you can read it and you don't have that bleed through.
Mm-hmm. Can I make a follow-up comment also with the other end? She mentioned other ways of recycling, and I know in my family, ever since I was a kid, we'd be passing around bags of books. So books never got thrown out in my family. And I think you mentioned community centers. So I start making piles, and I love used bookstores. When we have an amazing bookstore in my community that is extremely supportive of indie authors and is every week features another author in a signing. Of course, it's been halted because of COVID, but so I highly encourage people to use bookstores, even though it might redirect somebody's disposable income that they use to buy books. Although for me, that's a required expense. But so the other thing is community centers. ESL programs. Some libraries are a bit picky about taking used books, so you have to kind of to feel that out. But somebody else said Goodwill, and if you can donate books to a place that is going to sell them and then put it toward a very beneficial social program, I think that's huge. But I mean, in my community as well, we have a huge immigrant population. So books that can maybe be implemented in an English language learning program I think is a great idea too.
Great. I want to introduce Janae. Hi, Janae. How are you?
Good.
Hi,
She's
Janae.
also an author, are you not?
Oh.
Ma'am? Sir?
Are you an author?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, welcome to the party. We're glad to see you here.
Thank
That's
you.
our youngest author, guys.
Wow.
She's 7 years old.
Very cool.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is. We appreciate authors of all ages, so we're glad you're here. We're just
Thank
asking
you.
general questions, but I want to give everybody a chance before 11 o'clock. I'm going to go through the entire group, and we'll start with Janae. Janae, why don't you tell us a little bit about a book that you wrote?
Okay, well, I'm going to start with my first book. It is called The Book Club, and it is about a girl overcoming her anxiety.
Okay. And do you have another book after that?
Yes, sir. I have Traveling with Snake, which is about a girl traveling to different states to see different family members and different school breaks.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to Ashley because I want to make sure we get you in before you leave. So what is your book about?
Well, I'm going to just talk about Here I Am. That's my latest book. It's an anthology written by 7 young authors, and it's a mentorship book, and we call it Here I Am, which is for our generation. We were to be seen and not heard. And so the children use that invisibility feeling and kind of capture, we're here, we have dreams, we have aspirations, and this is what we need. And so it's really good letters to a friend, inspirations to their inspirational messages to their peers. And so that's my latest book.
Okay. DeMarcus, before you get driving, let's go ahead and get you in. What is your book about? All right, we got you on mute there. Can you unmute yourself?
Well, my book is titled From the Hood to the Church, and it's basically a testimony of my life. It's a 7-chapter book. It's my life before God. If it weren't for God, I knew I wouldn't be on this call right now. So it's basically a 7-chapter book of my life, what I went through and what God brought me through.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's do Marcia. What book would you like to talk about?
All right.
Bye, DeMarcus.
Have
You
a blessed
too.
day.
You too, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have 8 books out. I write romantic suspense, second chances, seasoned romance with characters in their 40s and 50s. And all of my characters start with a base in Texas, and they may travel to some place, but they're all Texans, as I am. And my most recent book is called Tainted. There you go. Don't have the print book yet. Waiting for that to happen. And a socialite and philanthropist needs to start a new life after her husband is arrested and put in federal prison for money laundering. And it came from a real life situation where I saw someone's house in the early morning. The FBI comes in, and my thought was, if you really didn't know what your husband was doing, what would that feel like? How scary would that be? And so that was kind of the impetus for this book. And she goes to New Mexico, where her Red River, New Mexico, where her mother has a house, and that's supposed to be kind of a respite, but the bad stuff follows her there. And of course, there's a romantic lead, and he has escaped from Dallas and all of the murders there, and hoping for some comfort in the mountains of Red River. I have a love affair with Red River, and we've been blessed to go there a number of times. My kids kept finally saying, "Mom, why aren't you writing a book set in Red River?" So I finally did. And then I'm now working on a Christmas book for next year. So
great.
We'll see.
And what book would you like to? I'm sorry. Anne, what book would you like to talk about?
Which Anne?
Anne O'Connell.
Oh, I guess I'll talk about. I write cozy mystery, and hoping to get back to it. I have 2 novels so far. This is the latest one, and everybody keeps asking me when the next one is coming because there is a sequel in the works. And I published this in 2015, just before I started my publishing company, and then realized I couldn't do both. So, but I'm hoping to get back to it. Deep Deceit is actually set in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. When I wrote the book, I was living in Dubai at the time. And there are a lot of, as we all know, real life can be stranger than fiction. So there's a lot of my experience woven into fictional accounts of this situation. It's 2 expat women who become friends, and one of their daughters goes missing, and the police won't do anything because she's 18 and considered an adult. Her mother feels that she's been sold into prostitution, and so the main character, Susan Morris, and the young girl's mother sort of launch a mission to find Tamara, and that takes her down lots of dark alleys of deep deception. So the central character will become an amateur sleuth in subsequent books. That will be a series called the Susan Morris Mysteries.
Great. And Alexa, what about you? What's your book?
As I mentioned earlier, Father Gave Me a Heart is my first published book, but I actually write more poems actually. So to write a book, I was shocked because I honestly never thought I would write a book. But the book Father Gave Me a Heart is about doing things from the heart, and also with poems, because I'm more of a poet in a way. I have at least 6 poems, and I got 3 right now that are in the Library of Congress. So it's definitely a journey. It's just really just kind of like Anthem's encouragement. So
good.
that's about it.
Well, thank you. And Redo, excuse me, my throat's dry here. What is your book or that you want to talk about?
Well, I write self-help, and the one that's currently I feel should be a hot item is Illness Can Be the Cure, where I talk about how our souls are communicating to us through every disease, every symptom is a soul communication. And when we hear that communication and do what our souls are asking us to do, we don't need the message anymore. I've seen miracles where people are willing to hear their souls.
Really interesting.
Great.
That book.
All righty. Excuse me. So I'm going to open it up. Does anybody have a question or something they want to ask, either myself or any of the authors?
I actually have a question.
All right.
Especially since I'm like this, like I guess starting the self-publishing route. What was y'all's journey like to point like either take the publishing route or traditional route? And another question is, what was the moment that says, you know what, I think I'm going to be a writer. Like I'm going to write books.
Okay. So before anybody answers that, the AP just called the presidential race for Joe Biden, if anybody's interested. That's the AP. We'll see if the others follow through. So, all right. Anybody want to answer those questions for Alexa? And if you want to repeat the question, because I kind of distracted everybody from what the question was, I apologize for that. So if you want to re-ask the question, please do.
Sure.
So Alexa, I'm going to take your first part of that question. And I was very focused on first getting an agent, but that was the only way to go. This was like 12 years ago, probably. And I kept trying to get an agent and I kept getting rejections. And then I went, well, I will go with a small e-press. And so I sent out this was my fourth book. I sent it out to 10 different small e-presses, including a Canadian one, and got 2 offers, and I went with the Canadian one. And so my first 2 books were e-published by them. They did not want to do print books, and I had people asking me for print books, and so I had lots of friends, author friends, who were self-publishing, and they held my hand through the process of getting the print done. And after I had done the print book on that first book, I went, oh, okay. So when my third book came along, I didn't, the publisher offered to buy it, but I said no, because it was a series and I wanted to have the total control of the series. And so at that point I started self-pubbing all of my books, not just the print books, but the whole shebang. And I am not very tech savvy. As it turned out, I'm here and not where I thought I was going to be this morning on a Zoom thing. But my testimony to you is, if I can do this, you can do this. And there are plenty of people out there who will help you and hold your hand. Nobody's more supportive than other authors, I think. You would think we would be at each other's trying to, scrap and go for each reader, but we're really not. We're out there helping and supporting, and we all write a different kind of book, and there are lots of different readers out there. And I have more of an abundance philosophy on that there are plenty of readers to go along with all of the different authors that are out here. So yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Real quickly, I know Ms. O'Connell has something to add to it, but before I do, Jane, think about this, because you're the youngest one here. So think about a question that you want to ask your elder published authors, okay?
Careful.
All right. We'll come back to you with that question in just a moment. I want you to think about that, see if you have something for us. So you're Anna O'Connell, you're a publisher. You have any response for Alexa?
Oh, sure. I'm similar to Marcia. I started by querying my first novel, which really sort of burst out of me unexpectedly. And in answer to your question, when did I know I was a writer? Well, of course, I've been a writer since I was a kid and wrote little poems in the Nothing book. If anybody remembers those, they now call them journals, but back then they were called the Nothing book. And so I was just living in, I can't remember where I was living at the time when I wrote my first one, probably in Dubai, but it literally, one night I sat down and started describing what it was like to have a night sweat. I was going to change, and everything just kind of started burbling out. And I created a character named Abby who was having a worse time with the change than I was, because it made me feel better that somebody else was suffering more. So anyway, that became my first novel. And it was around the time, if anybody's familiar with Nanowrimo, National Novel Writing Month.
Going on right now.
It is going on right now. It's the month of November, where you're challenged to write 50,000 words in 30 days, which I did with Mental Pause, which was my first novel. And I thought, and it was something I needed at that time to work through things, because I find writing very cathartic. And then once I had these 50 some odd thousand words, I thought, well, now what do I do? And I thought it was the first time I had written anything full length. I'd written lots of feature articles, and my career was in public relations. So, any kind of business writing, web copy, brochures, press releases, the whole shoot and match. So I just thought, wow, I can't just let this go by the wayside. And I had a few beta readers read it. They said it was really good. And so I started querying agents. Following Writer's Digest, I would recommend to everybody as a great resource, and Publishers Weekly. So long story short, I had a big long list of agents. I started sending out chapters. I had some positive feedback, but no real strong bites. And at the time, so this was in 2011, at the time, my mom's getting older, and she kept wanting to know when it was going to be published. And I said, well, Mom, I don't even have a publisher yet. So simultaneously, I started researching the self-publishing route. And the more I learned about it, the more I thought, well, this is going to be the route that I want to take. So that's a very big nutshell, but that was my route.
Before I go on, excuse me. Before I go on, I wanted to share something with you all. So bear with me a second while I try to pull it up. This is our website. And if you see here, we have services, writing, publishing, agents, graphic artists, authors, you name it, it's all in there, okay? But we also have on our website, and where did I just have it? We have agents listed under there as well. But there it is, literary agents. We have writers groups that may be in your area. There are writers groups from around the world listed there. But all of this is available to anybody free of charge under our authorsmarketingguild.com. So feel free to check that out at any time if that helps any of you. I'm going to come back now to Jane. Did you think of a question for us, older people?
Yes, sir. What advice could you give me as a young author?
Who would like to take that?
My goodness. Keep writing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't stop. Just keep on writing. Keep sharing.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
And while it's important, Janae, to ultimately have it get edited and be grammatically correct, don't let that stop you writing. Let me show you what I have. I have this little guy named Scruffy. And when I'm writing new stuff, when I'm trying to be creative, I put Scruffy out there to say, let it go. Just have fun with this. Let the words flow. You can fix it all later. Because my problem was always, I'm a retired elementary school principal, Janae, so I want to know what grade you're in and stuff. But because of that, it's like, oh, it's got to be perfect. Well, you can't write like that. You got to just let it flow. So Scruffy is my reminder when I'm creating new stuff. And what grade are you in, Janae?
I'm in the 2nd grade.
Oh my stars and bars. Okay, wow. We are going to know about this young woman before she's even grown.
I'm in.
That's great, Ben. Good for you.
And if I may, Janae, I've interviewed lots and lots of people over the years, like over 1,000 authors. And one thing they all have in common is those voices inside their head. Don't be afraid of them. There are characters that want to get out and write their stories. So you never know what they might have to say or what they want to share with you. So don't be afraid of them. Just write them out, put them on paper. You never know what might happen, okay?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I would
Anybody
add
else
to
want to
that,
answer a question?
Anne wants to add something. Anne Radcliffe.
yeah.
What else?
Janae, I would just want to say that always have a pen and paper with you, because I go running, I have pen and paper. I go to the gym, I have pen and paper wherever I go, because you never know when that idea is going to come that needs to be captured. Because I don't know about you, but I can forget things very easily.
Yes,
Pen and
ma'am.
paper.
And since you're at the age where you love electronics, definitely feel free to use it on your iPhone, iPad, whatever you've got handy and stuff. That's your new pen and paper these days. So feel
Yeah,
free.
and
Point.
that's what I do. I do it on my phone because I can't read my writing anymore. So I just grab that little note section out and I'm putting it in there. I talked something. I had an idea come to me when I was walking the other day, and it was a beautiful fall day, and this idea came, and I grabbed my phone and I talked it into it. So yeah,
Good idea.
keep the ideas, Janae, and keep on writing.
Yes, ma'am.
Is your school supportive?
Oh, yes, he's very supportive.
Good, good. And I know your mom is. I saw her there when you were coming on, and that's wonderful. But yeah, that's
Yes, they have my books in the library.
that is awesome. Oh my gosh, good,
Oh.
good job,
Fantastic. Congratulations.
good job. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's definitely awesome.
Well, I'm about to head out and get prepped for our other room, but thank y'all again. Nice to meet y'all. Hopefully we'll get everybody's information, but I'm happy to join the team with Mr. Allen, and I look forward to the future with you all.
Good.
And
Thanks,
she is
Ashley.
looking for authors, women authors, to help fill her bookstore. So definitely reach out to her. It's Words Unite. We did a newsletter notice about it. And if you have any questions, email me and I'll send you the information about her store as well.
Where's
Thank
she
you again.
located, Alan? Where's she located?
I'm in Killeen, Texas.
Oh, she's in Killeen. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
She works with Fort Hood a lot. So.
got it. Okay.
And Janae, that's where you're at, aren't you, in Killeen?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, sir. Sorry.
That's all right. And Alexa, where are you at?
I actually lived in Killeen for over 10 years after I got out of the military, but currently reside in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yes.
And Marcia, you're in East
I'm in
Texas?
Fort Worth,
Fort
I'm in
Worth,
Fort Worth.
okay.
the good side of the Metroplex. It's like, you know, we're always digging Dallas, but yeah.
And Red Elf is Dallas area, and O'Connell is in Canada.
Cool.
And I'm in Austin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't you love Zoom that we can come together like this? I just, you know, one of the, you know, they say something good comes from bad. Well, I think the COVID brought us Zoom in a way that I wouldn't have otherwise done. So.
Yes.
And I wouldn't have met all of you if there wouldn't
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. I wouldn't have known Janae down there
Yes.
doing all this great writing. I will tell my grandkids about you, Janae. So I have two of them who are good writers, so they'll enjoy hearing that.
That's it. Marcia might have Scruffy, but I have Ollie.
Bob has my Charlie, who he would have been barking and
He's
participating.
stepping on my keyboard.
Okay, that also. You get kind of a crick in your back when you're trying to type when your fur baby is on your lap. So.
Yes.
Okay, and
Okay.
just to
Well-
let everybody know, we will be doing virtual book festivals again next year. We'll do one every quarter, and we're going to be asking that the authors who participate actually promote an author that is not in their group. For example, if you write romance, you would promote somebody maybe in children's or nonfiction or whatever authors and stuff. So cross-promoting will help as far as getting more people involved and stuff of that nature. And we are looking forward to our first book festival next year, which will be the Lone Star Festival in Seguin, which is just west of San Antonio. So we have about 60 authors currently registered, I believe. but we're looking for a lot more, and we're looking for artists and musicians. So if you know anyone, please let them know about the event. And you can sign up at lonestar.bookfestival.network.
Alan,
you.
remind me of
I'm
what
glad
the
you
date is. I'm
It's
sure it's
May
on my
29th, which
May
is
29th.
Memorial Day weekend.
right.
So that's going to be an annual event that we are working with the city on. So hopefully we'll expand it to a 2-day event and do it out on their plaza. But the first year is going to be at the Civic Center on a Saturday,
Okay.
indoors. So
And hopefully by then we'll have made some progress on the virus.
most definitely, especially now with the new president.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Does anybody have a question or anything they would like to share?
I don't have a question, but it was nice meeting you. I gotta go. I gotta go to the other group.
All
Okay.
right. Well, thank you
Bye-bye,
very much for
Janae.
joining us.
You have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, and I gotta head out also. So, but I thank you for the opportunity. Especially Words Unite Booster. They gave me the heads up about this. So about transition also. But I look forward to meeting y'all, and I look forward to buying books. Especially Marsha. We said 40, 50, and I just turned 40 in September.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, there is life for 40.
There is, trust me on this, there is life after 40 and it actually gets better. So,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
That wisdom that
I keep
all of a
telling
sudden appears and flows and stuff.
Yes.
people do want to read about protagonists in their 40s and 50s. I believe that.
I think so. Yeah, well, the demographics is growing in that area. And so, yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Well, thank you,
Bye,
Alexa,
Alan.
for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you so
Ann
much.
and
Nice
Ann
meeting y'all.
and Alexia, good to see you all. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right, so that just leaves Ann Red Elves and Ann O'Connell. So, hi. So, do you guys want to share anything?
I just want to congratulate you for pulling this together and providing such amazing resources to your members. And I'm really pleased that I joined, and I can't believe I waited so long.
Well, we appreciate it, and I do appreciate you sharing it with your fellow authors and stuff. Hopefully we'll get more of them signed on and make your life as a publisher a little easier too.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I think you have 2 so far, so I keep reiterating the value, the benefits. So.
Okay, and you don't know this, and normally I don't share this so far in advance, but on November 20th, which is my birthday, I run a special birthday sale where it's 60% off the membership.
Ooh.
So it's only good on that day.
Okay.
So
when do you want us to start promoting that?
the 19th and on the 20th.
Okay. Okay.
Because yeah, I mean, we take a big financial hit by doing this,
sure.
but it makes it at $20 membership for a year is well worth it for anybody.
Oh my goodness.
So feel free.
It's already a great deal.
Yeah, it is. All right, Ann, do you want to share anything?
Just where do we go next? I'm a little unclear. Where do we go at 11?
You can join the other rooms if you want. Some of the other authors are doing rooms of their own. We have one in Houston, we have one in Killeen. So they're doing it at different times. I believe actually the one, let me take a quick look at the schedule, because I think we have another one going on. Diane in Houston, I think, has got a room going on, so you're welcome to join her there.
My authors.
The one in North Texas, unfortunately, had to be canceled for family emergency. Yeah, so Diane has got a room going on there right now, so you can go to authors.indy.org, go under Celebration Rooms, Texas, and click on Houston or Killeen. Either of those are going on, and just check them out and say hi over there and stuff. So, or you can just hang up and go on with your day, whatever works for you.
Well, I've got to go over and jump on Diane's.
All righty. Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here. I'll be on for a little longer in case other people join in. So.
Okay. How do I? I'm
Bye-bye.
gonna leave it. Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
Alan, and I appreciate the emails you've been sending.
Oh,
Just
you're welcome.
little extra info that you've been putting in that I
Oh,
think is
thank
just
you.
real meaningful. So well done.
And I'll watch out for your email. Thanks so much.
Okay, sure.
Have a good day.
See y'all soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Do you send book sales to a company that takes most of your money? Want to earn more money from your book sales? Do you want a bookstore that supports you? Introducing a new bookstore for indie authors and small press, B4R.store. Earn up to 80% of your book sales and learn how to market yourself. B4R.store.
Of course.
We had about 7 people on.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a nice conversation for a good, almost an hour. So
That's good.
some of them headed over to Diane's room. She was going on as well. And then some headed over to Colleen. Hi,
Okay.
Julie. If you want to unmute yourself, I'll introduce y'all. So while Julie's unmuting, this is Jan Sykes, and she is an author in the Dallas area. Julie is an author in Houston and also soon to be a publisher. Is that correct, Julie?
Yes, I have a micro publishing firm.
Good.
Wonderful. It's good to meet you, Julie.
Jan, I've seen you on other programs. I know our paths have
good.
crossed.
Good, good. Yeah.
Yeah. There's mutual people there in Houston, and I just drew a blank on her name. Sandy Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
That both of you work with, and then up in Dallas, there's CJ Peterson that you guys both know and work with, and of course me.
Right.
So Jan, if you want to take a moment and talk about one of your books.
Well, sure. I only have a few minutes. Unfortunately, I have to head out, but a family situation is kind of taking me away. But anyway, I have a new book coming out. The release date is December the 14th, and it's my first fiction novel. So it's my debut into the world of fiction. And I'm kind of excited about it and a little nervous at the same time because I don't know how it'll be received. You never know. But it's a good story. It's called Ghostly Interference, and it is a triangle of souls in that there is a male and a female character, of course, and then the ghost of the female character's brother is very active in bringing them together and then helping solve some life-threatening situations that arise. So the ghost is part of the story, and it is a romance. These two could not be more different, but they do fall in love, and kind of proves that differences don't always really matter. So I'm kind of excited about it. I wish that it was a different release date because that close to Christmas is going to be competing with Christmas shopping, but I'm going to try to use that to my advantage.
And what's the name of it?
Ghostly Interference.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Julie, in the short time that Jan's left with us, do you want to talk about your book?
Oh, I can talk all day. But I've had a really big week this week because last night I had the launch of the audiobook version of my book. And I also have gotten the hardcover ready now. So my nonfiction travel book is now available paperback, e-back, audiobook, and hardcover. And I've spent a lot of time over the last few months working to get the audiobook and the hardcover done. And they're done. So they're launched, they're out there in the world. And the project I'm working on now is that I almost have ready, it'll probably be published in December, is a children's book.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
I never thought I would be a children's book author, but here I am. And again, a lot of it has to do with having time since March to do projects that normally I wouldn't have had time to do because I'd be traveling a lot. Also, because I'm not traveling, the money I normally would spend in travel, I've been able to invest in, for example, getting my audiobook done.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you're right. You never know. When you think that, oh, I'd never write that, I don't even say that anymore because at this point I've written in almost every genre there is.
Well, I mean, you're right. And the other thing that I did this summer was I wrote short stories for anthologies, and Authors Marketing Guild published one of my short stories and its
Wonderful.
anthology. And C.J. Peterson, who Alan mentioned, and Lydia Mann published a Christmas short story I wrote in their Christmas anthology. So again, if you told me I would be a published short story author, I would have said, ha, 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 very funny.
Yeah.
But here I am, you know,
There
so
you
now
go.
I have 2 anthologies, a nonfiction in every possible version, and a children's book coming out.
That's wonderful.
And Jan, earlier in our conversation with the other authors, we did talk about that idea that you read, that I sent to you through the advisory board.
Oh, good.
Having picture taken of their library, coming up with some kind of catchy name and stuff like that used for social media promotion. They all love the idea. They all are thinking of an urban name to use. So, you know, we'll see how that progresses. And I'll send that out to the membership this week as well, see what kind of feedback we get from that. So
Awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Well, one of the wonderful things that Alan is doing and other groups is putting me in touch with other people. And let me just say, before I came on this site, I was at the Houston site, and that's being run by Diane Boom. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. But she was amazing to meet, and her husband was a former Foreign Service officer. And as a former Foreign Service officer myself, I'm thrilled to meet her.
Wow.
So
small world.
Yes, getting around and meeting other authors is also a very valuable service that Alan and other groups offer.
We really miss that in person, but maybe eventually it'll come back.
We're moving forward with not only the Galveston event next weekend, but also with the Lone Star event in May. We've got, I think, 30 to 40 authors signed up for it. We are looking for musicians, Jan. We are looking for artists. So if any of you guys know anybody, send them to the website to sign up and participate and stuff, because we do want to turn this into an annual event. The city's way behind us. I mean, they are.
And this is back in Seguin?
Yeah, still in Seguin, and it'll remain there as long as the city continues to support it and stuff. We do want to turn this into a 2-day annual event out on the square. Right now, it's just the 1 day at the Civic Center on May 29th. So everybody's excited and still moving forward towards that. We hope the vaccine's out there and all of us old folks get a shot, you know, beforehand. And
hopefully.
So, yeah, so we're looking forward to that and making it an annual event and stuff. So,
are you still taking additional authors for that, Alan?
Oh yes, yeah. All they have to do is go to lonestar.bookfestival.network to sign up. We have
and those of us that were already signed up, we don't need to do anything.
Right. Yeah. If you sign up for this year, and you know, because it was transferred, it's automatically transferred over to next year. So nothing needed to do.
Great. Awesome.
You're already listed for 2021 and all that fun stuff. So
awesome.
So we do want to get some musician and artists included and build on.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of people in the area, and so does Kay Went. She knows a lot of people in the area as well.
Yeah.
So I'll do some outreach.
Yeah, I know with her new job, she's really tied up with that and focused in on that and stuff, which I totally understand. So.
Sure, of course.
Well, I've really been promoting the Galveston Island Book Festival through my newsletter. I mean, every week for the last month at least.
Good.
I've been on one of your posters. You sent a bunch of different ones, so it's allowed me to vary each week the poster that we post. And the book festival will be the top item on my newsletter, which goes out on Monday.
Great.
So
and the weather's looking good. It's going to be in the 70s during the day. So, and I think in the 60s during the evening. So very light change. It's supposed to be sunny and clear. So as of right now, so that looks good.
I'm thrilled about actually getting out away from Houston for the day and and meeting people. So yes. I'm really excited about it.
Well, we'll have plenty of masks, plenty of sanitizer, plenty of temperature gauges and all that stuff. So everybody should hopefully be safe, and it should be a fun event. So
I'll keep my fingers crossed for everybody.
Thanks.
I have a sort of costume I wear, and I'm thinking, should I or shouldn't I don my costume?
Oh, why not? Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Do any of you want to share anything before Jan leaves?
Like
I just wanted to pop in.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Me too.
I will be editing all this and putting it up on our YouTube and sharing it and stuff like that. So, we'll
Great.
be mixing it all in and
Okay.
stuff. So, like I said, we had a good first hour. Lots of people attending and talking and sharing ideas and stuff like that. So, our
That's
youngest author at 7 years old was even on. So.
Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. Well, I do have to duck out, but I just wanted to say hi and happy National Authors Day to everybody.
Thank you, Jan. Have a good
All
day.
righty. Bye-bye.
So, Julie, you have anything you want to talk about?
Yes, I'd like to spend a little more time talking about this past week. For me, it has been an incredible week. First of all, on Monday, I am the president of the Society of Rice University Women. So we had a talk with Dr. Kleinberg, Stephen Kleinberg, who's a specialist on Houston, and he just had his book out, Prophetic City. So hearing him talk based on, they've done surveys of Houston opinion since 1972, and now he's done a book that talks about all the changes in Houston over all these years. And he firmly believes that Houston, so goes the rest of the country. And he talks about that, which is why he calls it Prophetic City. So I ran that meeting on Monday. Tuesday, I had a break, my only break this week. Wednesday night, I was the featured author for a Meet the Author presentation by the Friends of Fondren Library, which is the library group for Rice University. And I had originally supposed to have been a speaker for them last April, I think it was. And that had to be canceled because of COVID. So they recontacted me and said, would you be willing to do it in a Zoom format? And I said, what the heck, why not? But to be totally honest, I had low expectations. First of all, I'm not a huge name. And so what audience would I attract? Secondly, a lot of people don't like, particularly readers, don't like Zoom format that much. But I thought I'll give it a try. So I was amazed and thrilled and so happy. There were 150 people participating in the program.
Wonderful.
So I got to spend an hour talking about my nonfiction book, about the Camino de Santiago, and I explained what the Camino was. I talked about my own pilgrimage, and then I talked about my book. And there were lots of questions remaining at the end of the hour that I just didn't have time to answer. So that I had spent quite a bit of time organizing my talk, preparing slides, figuring out what I wanted to say. That was, let's say, the peak of the week. Then on Thursday night, I was part of a panel that we did the launch of C.J. Peterson and Lydia Mann's anthology, 'Tis the Season. So I had submitted a Christmas story and it was chosen for their anthology. So they had the 12 authors whose stories were selected, and we did a launch of the Christmas anthology. So that was fun. CJ made the mistake at one point of asking us to sing a Christmas carol. I'm sure it sounded like dogs and cats to the listeners because we were all singing at different rates and different tempos, and I, for one, am a horrible singer. But anyway, we did it, and then she had us do it another song. Second one was Jingle Bells. Anyway, it was fun, and it was a nice launch, and that book, that anthology, is now out in the world. And then, as I mentioned before, last night, I had the launch of my audiobook, and I decided to make it sort of a, not just a launch, but a learning experience. So I had other authors. Greg Kelso, who's a Texan, was my first speaker. He's the one that first suggested to me the idea of doing an audiobook. And then I had Zach Barcaris, who's an author. He's based in California, and he's an actor. So he gave me advice on which of the narrators that auditioned for my book I should select. And I spoke about the process and doing the audiobook. And then I had Sandy Lawrence talk about special information you need to think about when you market an audiobook as opposed to a paper or print book. And I had some fun. I always have fun on these things, or try to. Greg Kelso was talking about, he found out that a great market for audiobooks is truckers. I had never considered truckers, but I started thinking, boy, I can start hanging out at truck stops and selling my book. Won't that be fun? So we'll see where that goes. But I have learned and I've realized, I never thought about doing an audiobook, but I've realized there are a lot of people who just aren't readers. They listen to podcasts, they watch YouTube, they do a lot of visual and auditory processing, but they don't read. So there is a market there. But my book is kind of a different, it's not fiction and it's not funny. And there's a lot of knots to it, but it is a good book. So I'm excited to perhaps meet a new audience through that audiobook. So that was Friday night, and today, Saturday, here I am with you, Alan. So it's been every day this week, I've been doing something relating to publishing and authors and books, and it's been fabulous.
Great. Yeah, definitely a good week for you, so I'm happy to hear that. And then Saturday, you'll pick up your wine and use it for your promotion, and which actually, I'm curious, what kind of promotion are you going to do with the wine?
I'm planning to use it for giveaways mainly. I'm always, all these different launches, I'm asked to give away something. And when we can get back in person, I'm going to have some events here at my offices. I mean, when I started Bayou City Publishing and purchased this house, which I use as my offices, one of my goals was to open it up to groups who needed a place to meet for free. And so before COVID hit, I was having some groups coming here, and I ran a film club and a book club. Of course, all that has had to stop. So but eventually when we can start meeting in person again, I'll have events here. And when I opened the publishing firm, I had a big launch and with champagne and everything. And when we can reopen, I'll probably have a relaunch, because I feel like, goodness, we've been just shut down for so long that we have to celebrate when we can start meeting in person again. So I'm not, I don't think I'm going to do a specific thing to push the wine, but it's going to be around all the time for me to use as I have events.
Great. In reference to your opening of the house and stuff, we were doing quarterly meetings in different cities and stuff. So we'd love to come back to Houston, and if you part of your relaunch of the place and stuff, we'd love to do a group meeting there, so authors can meet each other and learn about your space and stuff like that. So keep us in mind.
Alan, I'd love to have you. You're welcome here anytime. It was one of the purposes for me buying this house and fixing it up, was to open it to authors. And you and your group and other groups in Houston have been so valuable to me, because I learned so much from other authors and publishers and just in general, the community. And I would like to give back a little bit to that community.
Great. Well, when you think about having, like I said, that reopening, let me know. We'll definitely put the word out there. I'm sure Sandy's group would be glad to do it. The Houston Writers Guild would be glad to do it. So, we'll share that information and try to get a big event and a happy event, because, we all need that at this point. So.
And I really appreciate you going ahead and being brave enough to try these in-person events. In a sense, I feel fearless since I've already had COVID. I understand that you can get it again, but supposedly everything I've heard says if you do get it again, it's not nearly as bad as it was the first time around. And I don't want to say I'm having cabin fever, but I feel like I'm missing an opportunity to get out, opportunities to be marketing my book by being locked in. And I am an oldster, so all the social media stuff is not natural to me. It's hard. I'm doing my best, but it's an effort to get out there on all these different platforms and promote myself and promote my book.
Yeah, it is. And it's definitely been a challenge for us. There's no doubt about it. So while I am concerned about the increase in cases, I think we're taking enough safety precautions that we should be in good shape for that event. So I'm looking forward to next week in Galveston.
So Alan, this must be your doggie that's just walked in your room?
Yes, the house dog. I forgot to close the door, and so she always comes in and says hi and stuff. So.
That's one thing I've really enjoyed since this whole episode. I religiously watch PBS NewsHour every night, and all the normal presenters, they're working out of their houses. So you get to see their room, what art they've got, but you also get to see their pets who wander through the screen. So I've been amused because you'll see comments like, what happened to the cat? We didn't see her tonight. People, we all know now that this certain person has a black and white kitty cat in their apartment. Anyway, so it's nice to meet people's pets.
Yeah, and that's part of what I really try to push on our organizations, that human contact. That's why we do the book festivals, because that makes a world of difference for readers to connect on that personal level and stuff. And I think it really makes a difference in sales and stuff. So.
Well, now you're giving me an idea. Maybe I'll start a regular comment by the cat on my newsletter.
We've had a couple people talk about their dogs, and matter of fact, who is it? I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but she has a book about a dog because it's based on her dog, and she shows the dog every so often when she does one of our conferences and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely something to do. It's that human touch which makes a difference.
So maybe you could, I'd be interested to know how your efforts with libraries and schools and so forth is going this year, considering all the restrictions.
It's not going at all because most all of them had shut down. And so that they're going through the process of reopening and stuff. So the only thing we've looked at is, of course, sending them out newsletters. We do have a mailing list of libraries in Texas, and so we've been sending newsletters every so often, but because they're not open, it's hard to promote authors to come in and do stuff. Our children's short story contest, which started in August, we have been putting it out there for the librarians to kind of hopefully put it out to the English teachers and their students and stuff like that. We'll see how well it goes this year because, again, you know, that contact is very limited, and so it's not always easy and stuff. So.
Well, the schools here in Houston are open again. I mean, I think they have all kind of restrictions and so forth, but I only noticed because in my neighborhood, for all these months, there hasn't been the school buses clogging the streets and the children and the crossing guards and everything, but they're back now in a more limited way, but they're back.
Yeah, same here in Austin. They're officially open to allowing kids come back, but only 25% of the kids have chosen to come back into school. The rest are still staying at home and stuff. So, you know, it does make it a challenge for everybody in that respect. But we're putting the word out there and hoping for the best. That's all we can do.
So you're in Austin, is that right, Alan?
Correct.
So how has Austin felt in this election season? You know,
well, we're a very liberal city, so most all of us have voted for Biden, and we were very happy this morning to hear that he won. So yeah, they're actually on the news earlier showing people partying and stuff like that. So yeah, for Austin, like I said, we're very liberal and we're very happy about it, and we definitely came out to vote when early voting was happening.
I haven't had a chance to really look at any of that yet, but I'm going to tonight. So I'm wondering how many books are going to be coming out of this whole experience this year. A lot, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wrote that short story in reference to the COVID, and I know other people have written things. There actually was somebody who wrote a pandemic story years ago that just recently got published before this, and so, you know, they're promoting it accordingly and stuff. But I have no doubt between the election, between the pandemic, there'll be tons of books out there about those two subjects. So we'll see them all probably early next year, if not throughout the summer.
Well, you probably haven't seen it, but my Christmas story that went in the Christmas anthology is called A COVID Christmas. And as an author, it was an interesting thing for me because I had to, it's fiction, of course, but I had to project what it's going to be like in December. Well, now we're only about a month away, but when I wrote it, it was 3 months away or 4 months away. And who knows what would happen in there? I mean, the country could have been in flames, and a story that didn't mention any of that would have seemed strange. Now I'm feeling a little more easy that my story doesn't go into politics at all. It doesn't mention any huge, big events that happened this year. It's just a story about Christmas.
Yeah, and how I assume how a family deals with that.
How an older lady deals with not being able to leave her house during Christmas season.
Yeah, she can't see her family, she can't see her grandkids, whatever.
So,
Yeah, even going to church is kind of taboo or hard to do.
So, but the thing, I love animals of all kinds. I don't have a dog right now because I like to travel and I just find it too hard on me. I feel too guilty when I have to leave my dog behind. But I do have cats. And over the last year, because of one circumstance after another, I have fostered 18 kittens.
Wow.
The first litter of 5 by a feral cat that I have fed for the last, since I moved into my house, basically. I couldn't catch her and get her fixed in time, so I had another litter of 5. Do catch the kittens and give them away. And then I did catch her, so no more kittens from her. But then a friend contacted me and said, I've got a bunch of kittens here, can you help me? So I went and trapped those 7 kittens, and I had them for, until they were big enough to be spayed or neutered and given away. And then one little lonely kitten, I don't know, I think the word went out on a cat grapevine, if you need to be fostered, go to this backyard, because this kitten appeared all by herself in my backyard and I took her in. So that was 18 kittens over like 18 months. So of course, in my Christmas story, there's a kitten, of course. Anyway,
Brings
it was
cheer to the lady.
Yes, well, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But this is another thing. I would never have launched into writing short stories had I not been locked here at home. So it's opened another avenue for me to pursue. And that's probably true for a lot of people.
Most definitely. Yeah, we were talking about that in the first hour of how people are now writing in different genres because of this time period down and stuff like that, or been able to, like you said, get their books published now that they had time to really work on them and finish them up and stuff during this time and stuff. So,
well, I had published my book last December, but I was just going to do the paperback and ebook. That's it. That's all my ambition. So now having an audiobook and a hardcover are unexpected and a direct result of being locked in.
good.
I would imagine a lot of people have had stories locked away in their drawers for years that they've hauled out and are now actually going to be publishing. So that's true for me. My children's book is basically a story I've had around since my son was a child.
Yeah. Oddly enough, for me, I was hoping to be able to do some of the writing of stories that I have kicking around and stuff, but unfortunately, trying to keep this organization up and running during all this time has been more of a challenge than I expected. So I had no time to write, unfortunately. So, but that's okay.
Oh, you have a couple of short stories in the anthology.
Yeah. But that was quick and easy, but being able to do the books, for me, I need to be locked away and be able to just focus in on that. That's just, again, trying to keep everything up and running and finding ways to make it work was always the challenge. And yeah, it's been interesting.
Well, one of the things I admire about you, Alan, is it seems like you've got your finger in so many different pies. I don't know how you keep all the balls in the air all the time, and frankly, for me, sometimes it's confusing. Now, is that Dear Indie? Is that Dear Texas? Is that Indie Lecture? Is that Authors Marketing Guild? Which of these organizations is it that's doing this particular activity?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm trying to keep it more focused on that respect, but yeah, it is a challenge. Like the Lone Star is a book festival, or started off as a book festival, but because we're including artists and musicians, the Texas Authors Institute of History, which is our museum, is now officially in charge of that as a fundraiser for that organization and stuff. So, and it's also specifically Texas authors or Texas musicians or Texas artists. So that's more appropriate for that organization to do it and stuff. But like the Galveston one, yeah, it's the Book Festival Network, which is the Dear Indie, Dear Texas organization, and Book Festival, or B4R Books, sponsoring it and all that stuff. So yeah, sometimes I have to remember who's doing what and where's the funds coming for this or that. And it's definitely a challenge. So, did you get a chance to talk with Rox on Thursday? Rox
She
Berkey?
was on, right. She and her partner,
Charles
Brakefield were also on the panel. And
Yeah.
they talked a little bit about relaunching their series and so forth. I mean, they've done a lot of, I think, relaunched all 12 books this past few months. And so,
at least half of them, they're working on each one, getting new covers, going through the revisions and stuff like that. Yeah.
so that's an amazing, I mean, for me, the idea of working with someone, jointly writing something is a very interesting idea, but I'm not sure I could do it. I'm very particular about how things look and turn out.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a good working relationship. Their spreadsheet concept is very interesting, and keeps them both current on changes and additions and stuff like that. So it is a very unique writing relationship and stuff. We have another pair of authors, Joy, Terry Goodman and Joy something are a team. And they actually wrote a book about how authors partnered together to be able to work together and stuff like that and stuff, the ABCs of writing and stuff. So, but it's interesting to see how different people approach it and work with it. I'm like you, I don't think I could do that so much, but yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I really don't know, but I admire people that can do that. I do, because you get creative sparks by working, bouncing ideas off someone, and someone might say, that really doesn't work there. Why don't we fix that or revise that? Whereas for me, it's all going on in my head, and I'm the only one processing and thinking about it and rewriting. I do belong to a couple of critique groups, and they do give me feedback, but that's usually, the thing is written, whatever it is, and then I'm just tweaking it or refining it, not actually changing it along the way.
Right.
I know a lot of writers use developmental editors who really tear up their work and make them redo it, but I haven't done that yet. So far, I write, and whatever it is, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's how I've been. And developmental editors, I'm not sure I could work with. That to me is like a writing partner. So, but as far as editing, I definitely will be using more of them, because I need to redo my first 3 books that I did, because I know the quality needs to be improved upon. My writing skills definitely have changed and stuff. So.
Alan, the yard man, is now mowing my yard, and I'm sure you can hear that horrible noise, so I think I better depart.
All righty. Well, thank you for joining us.
I really enjoyed talking with you, and congratulations on putting this together. It's been, for me, as I said, I got to meet a new author to Houston, and I'm really glad I did that. And I got to chat with you for a little bit.
Well,
so I'll see you next Saturday.
Most definitely.
Galveston Island Book Festival, and I'm really looking forward to that.
All right. You have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Join us for the 6th Annual Authors Marketing Event in Granbury, Texas on July 23rd to the 25th, 2021, where authors share ideas and learn from the professionals over a 2-day weekend. Receive your book marketing certification from the only organization in the world that has been doing it for 5 years, Authors Marketing Guild, a membership-based organization that supports authors from around the world. Learn more at ame.authorsmarketingguild.com. Sponsored by IndieLector.store, a bookstore that pays authors their fair share.
I just finished the one with Colleen, so I was like, go ahead and jump on back, see anything else new going on.
No, we had a couple more authors join after everybody left. And we chatted briefly with them. But nope, it's just you and I at this moment.
Okie dokie, okie dokie, okie dokie. I got a question to ask you.
Sure.
Because I took the self-publishing route through Amazon, because I was trying to do traditional, but due to finances, I'm going self-publishing route. And it has been a process, especially like you're trying to like kind of, you know how you want to get the book out, you know, get it everywhere as much as you can, and then at the same time it's kind of like when how can you maximize what you got when you don't really have all the reasons you really need. Did you ever go through like some kind of like a journey like that?
Oh, yes. So give you a little impact about me. I was, first off, I was a published author. I opened my own publishing house to help authors. Did that for 5 years, got 60 books published for people around the world, but also realized how important that marketing was and how expensive it could be. So that ended up leading me to shut the publishing down and do this, which I started in 2011 and now I've been doing it for 10 years. So our whole organization is about helping authors learn how to market and sell themselves. We have an annual event every July where authors can come together, meet fellow authors, learn from professionals how to market and sell themselves. We have an online campus that is currently free for members through the end of the year, so they can watch 30 different videos about marketing in different types of styles and ways, audiobooks, a whole bunch of stuff, social media, all that stuff. But we also, you know, constantly have information that we put out there through our newsletters for that. I have a book that I send out to new members that helps them with a whole bunch of ideas and concepts and stuff. We tweet and post about our members constantly and stuff. Unfortunately, by you going straight to Amazon to get your book published, you ended up shutting out half of the readers around the world because they don't use Amazon. And you can't get your book into bookstores as easily because it's through Amazon. Bookstores in general don't like to sell Amazon published books because it takes away from their sales. So you've lost all that market and stuff. So when you're ready to switch, we will be glad to help you through that process. It is a little bit of a challenge, but it's not that difficult to do and stuff. So.
No, because I heard stories about them. Looking like, okay, look, I understand y'all had y'all story, but look, I need my book somewhere like now. But I had a feeling you said that because I tried to get my book through Walmart, Barnes and Noble, even through AFES, and they're like, no, we don't do independent books. I'm like, okay, what else can I do? And so Words Unite is actually one bookstore I went through, and then there's another bookstore in San Antonio called the Twig Bookshop, and I did my first book signing there, and that was definitely an experience within itself, which I really had to learn not to, I guess, not complain, because I did get all the results that I wanted to get. I'm thinking, okay, everybody gonna be in line, I'll be sold out, and when I didn't get that type of results, it was kind of, I ain't gonna lie, I was discouraged by it. It just kind of changed my attitude. So I think one of the things for me is just trying to find different outlets to where the book can really be noticed and get exposure. So when you said that, I was looking like, that's why when you said half the people, half the readers, half published companies, I was like, okay, I need to switch how much, because I want every outlet available to get that book's attention, every outlet. I want eyes on that book at every place I could think of, gas stations. I mean, it's just like, I want the book pushed out so much, but I did not know when going through Amazon, it was gonna be like some people not able to see it unless I like physically put it in the bookstore or physically give it to the person, like direct one-on-one with the person.
Right. So, like I said, we help our members with all that process. We have a lot of stuff on our website for that and stuff. But our newsletters constantly come out with information, new programs, new things that help market in different ways and stuff like that. We do produce book festivals. We do attend book festivals. Matter of fact, right now in Saudi Arabia, they're having a book festival that we're listed on. We opened up our possibility for authors to express their books on there, and it only costs the author $5 to do that. But we have lots of programs and stuff, so you may really want to consider joining us just to help get that exposure and that information.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would not mind at all because it's definitely I think for me, because normally I'm used, I could like navigate myself, a lot of things, but it's this time doing a book, and then it's like, okay, I don't need help. I'm really gonna need help. And one thing I really had to do was really humble myself. Okay, like, what can I do? I need help. How to do this? How to do that? And even just like because I had a lot of offers from different traditional publishers, and I mean they wanted to do the book for me, and so it's just been kind of, it's like growing, kind of like growing pains. But I know in the long run it's gonna be worth it, and I just really cannot be, I can't be complaining, I can't be jealous when I see other books getting pushed out more than my own. So it's just really been, it's been a process. It really has been, but I know it's worth it. I know the journey's worth it, even though it may not see a lot of it right now. I know in the long run I'm gonna be saying, I'm glad I went through the process.
Yeah. You're working on another book, correct?
Yes, sir. My second book is called "You're Not the Only One," and it's really really about, really kind of like a story from all things I've been through, and I do it like key subjects. One of like, not only been violated because I was sexually abused when I was a kid, and didn't think it affected me, but the process, the feelings of what I went through, and that really took a minute, because even though I went to counseling, I know I'm healed from it. It is kind of like dissecting, like, why would they do this? What's their mindset? And even to the point of surprised to remember some of the events that even occurred with the sexual abuse, and about parents, and which I know said of parents, and that was another process. And then also about the wrong type of people. And I did not want to touch that, to be honest with you, because I realized how much I think I could have avoided it, but because I did not like being by myself, I was like I guess I got tired. I didn't like being alone a lot of times, so I just took whoever came along the way, and even though they were not good for me, I still went along with them. But it's really a piece by piece book, because my first book, Father Gave Me a Heart, it got finished like written wise. It took about maybe a year or two tops. But with this one, I'm taking my time with it, because I want to make sure what I'm saying, because one is really my personal story, personal experience. But I also want to make sure that what I'm saying, all that's going on, I'm not just like talking about what others did to me, but also what I did and what I did to others. So it's like I'm very like kind of picky about how I put my words, how I formulate the words, and how I put everything out. So it's I've done the written stage, like putting on paper, and now I typed it. I did not do first chapter yet, because right now I'm in grad school, so it's kind of like on a back, like not on a back, but it's like kind of got to find some like make free time to finish the book. But I know back of mine it's gonna change a lot of people. But I think overall it really has changed me, because of all of the material, and even when I was writing, how much experience that I have went through throughout the years. And I didn't know it was a lot, but it made me. And looking back now, I'm glad it did. Man, like some of the pain, the trauma I went through, but it made me. It made me a better person. It made me a better person.
So my first question is, how soon are you looking to have this published?
Second book, I definitely want to do it next year. Cause I think grad school will be finished by summer. So if I could get this done between the fall, like summer of next year to just like winter next year, that'd be perfect. I just gotta get typed up, and I already got the first chapter started, so I just gotta get the rest of the chapters typed up. So once it's typed up, I could really like get the cover and everything. And I would say with Amazon, I give credit to Amazon on this. Design the book cover. I go lie, it was a big helper to me. So the second book, I know I'm gonna want a design that stands out. The coloring, the wording, it's like it gotta say, ooh, I gotta get this book.
Right.
So it's definitely been a journey. It's been a journey.
Okay. So recommendation is to at least allow no less than 1 year, preferably 1.5 to 2 years between books. Reason is because it takes so long to get that book done, but then you have to do the marketing, and that's really 90% of the book sales. Is making sure you get your marketing done. With authors that are doing multiple books, you're building upon the first one. So you really want to get in there and learn how to properly do it, so that when the second one's ready, you already have everything set up. You already know what you need to do the process of getting it pre-ordered, pre-published, get the reviews in, then get the book released, then get the sales going and all that stuff. So you do want to spread it out. And this is a good time, especially if you're going to grad school right now, you need to have that time to do the school plus the marketing that's going to be required and stuff. So keep that in mind.
Yes, sir. And one thing I can say, I mean, I'm thankful I got support, because I was able to do like a radio broadcast, so that was a big help. And even like I started a new job recently, and I told my coworkers what I was gonna be doing one weekend, and she just bragged about it and spread like wildfire. So I was really grateful for the support, because when I go on Amazon, I sometimes try not to look every day at the sales. I try not to. And I've done the advertising round with Amazon. And it's sometimes it's hard. It really is, because you might like saying, "Wait, I wish I could have this. I could have got that." But I just gotta, let's say, walk by faith. And so it's definitely been a faith walk. Just, I won't say writing a book was no problem. I think just like marketing the book and pushing the book and getting the word out about the book, that I'll say has been a journey, but I know in the long run it's going to work out. So I just got to remind myself and not doubt and not worry about how everything's going to work out. So
yeah, we also have a podcast that we do, so definitely go to the website and sign up for it, and we'll get you scheduled for next year for it and stuff. But we have tons of information available, so definitely use us, join us, and let us help you, as best we can. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Second question. Even though I have the book posted through Amazon, if I want to still, how'd you put this? What was I looking for? You know how to have distribution routes?
Mm-hmm.
Would I be in trouble if even though I probably published my book through Amazon for self-publishing? Could I say, hey, look, my book is available on Amazon, or let's say if I order copies for myself and then give it to, let's say, send it to another bookstore, would that be okay or not okay? Because I purchase copies of the book, and I know it gets some to Words Unite and then to Twig bookstore, and I keep some on hand just in case somebody want to buy the book on the spot. So I think the question is distribution, but I think you said to look at the website and there are plenty of help available. Because I think distribution probably one of the biggest things, and marketing.
Right. So one of the things we would encourage you to do is switch your book from Amazon to Ingram Spark. The main reason is Ingram Spark is a distribution system, and that's why having your book on their system gets you into all the bookstores, or at least allows them to order the books. But they also have printers around the world. So if somebody in Australia finds your book, they can order it from that local printer of Ingram, and they don't have to pay that outrageous shipping fees and stuff like that. Okay, so it opens up that market. But we also have a bookstore. It's called Indie Lector right now. We're switching our name the first of the year. And we are also working as a book distributor for events and other outlets. For example, in Seguin, Texas, there's a Christmas store that we're getting books in and stuff. So we're acting as that distributor to do that process and stuff. So there's a lot of angles, a lot of ways of doing it, but you've got to have your book set up properly to be able to do those type of things and stuff like that. So
yes, sir.
Yes, you can do it, basically.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So just need to go through, I think you said Indie Beacon. Was that the website?
Authors Marketing Guild, start there.
Yes,
and then
sir.
just go accordingly, but feel free to email me, with questions and stuff.
Okay, that will work. I don't think I have no other questions at this time. Let us some words of wisdom.
Just hang in there. It does get better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Other than that, that's all I have. I thank you for your wisdom, because it's needed. And, but I definitely thank you for your time, so I really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. You enjoy your day.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Authors Marketing Guild is a membership-owned organization designed to help authors succeed and learn how to better market and sell themselves and their books. Join us at authorsmarketingguild.com and receive so many benefits you'll wonder why you didn't join sooner. That's authorsmarketingguild.com.